Donald Trump has destroyed so much value in the stock market, proclaim leftists on TV, yammering away about the tariffs. That begs the question, what exactly is value? Is it a bunch of numbers that you see on your computer screen that tells you if you sold at this current moment, how much approximately you would generate as those numbers go down? Is that necessarily destroyed value, or is it the perception of the true worth of those individual stocks? Well, what is value? Value, for example, is the Tesla you drive. Destroying the value are those who draw swastikas in it or burn them up, destroy the charging stations. That is actual destruction of value. When you see your stocks and they're valued at Apple, $250, which I sold for in December, 200 shares in order to purchase a car. And now, today, it's below 200. Is that destroyed value, or is that the perception? It's the perception, because even if everybody at the exact same time says, well, right now Apple is valued at $250 a share, and they tried to sell the stock, not everybody would get $250 a share. Only the first people that entered in that had their trade honored. Because as you pour stock onto the market, the price drops. It has to find a bid at that price. That's just the current bid. That's just perceived value. So you'll see stock fluctuates up and down, up and down. This is the normal gyration of the market. And the truth is that it was vastly overvalued. The market was trading at 30 times earnings, and it's still historically high. Why? Because when you pump money into an economy and inflate prices, and that seeks a home in the stock market, which is a fairly scarce commodity that represents actual value being the factories in China that produce the Apple iPhone, or in Vietnam that create shoes that you get to wear. This has value for humanity. Regulations often destroy value. Destruction, physical destruction, that is a destruction of value. If Donald Trump's tariffs put companies that are low margin out of business, which it very well might, that is a destruction of value. When you see your stocks gyrate up and down, that is not destruction of value. That is destruction of perceived worth. What the trader believes that $1 will generate for them going forward into the future is what the worth of a stock is based on. So you have to give Donald Trump here a break and allow him to negotiate, and hopefully on the other end, the United States, the citizens, and the companies represented come out better. You can negotiate down the tariffs that other countries have on our products. And a lot of people will, by the way, tell you that the tariffs that are enacted against U.S. companies are very low, but then they have all sorts of other red tape that stymie the export of U.S. products to those zones. So in Europe, they will refuse to take American agriculture because of mad cow disease back in 1993. They was going on until very recently. That was their excuse. So that's a form of red tape. When you apply a VAT tax to an American product that you don't necessarily to your homemade product, that is also a form of tariff. It's just not done exactly on the import. That's done at a later stage. So that doesn't show up in the import taxes for these countries. So in other words, you have to really consider what value is. Value is a tangible product that you can use. A Google search algorithm is an example of value that is being created because you can find what you need in a short period of time. That has value. When you destroy Google, when you destroy the engineering that was accomplished with, that is a destruction of value. Otherwise, if you could just conjure up numbers and say that you're creating value, then the Venezuelan stock market, which rose to record highs when they had massive inflation, that would be a creation of value, but those are just numbers on a screen and they do not represent value. The true value is what you can get for your dollars. And the fact that we are, by the way, able to export the US dollar, which we can print out of thin air for various goods around the world, because we are the reserve currency that everybody has desired since World War II, well, that right there is a tremendous advantage for the United States. And it's an open question whether or not we are going to remain the world's reserve currency. And if we don't, by the way, I do believe that we're going to move to Bitcoin as the matter of settling trade, because that has tangible scarcity in the fact that there will only be 21 million ever created. And in order to produce one, you have to expend massive amounts of energy. So there is proof of work there. There is proof of energy, as opposed to the United States that just gets to print willy-nilly and gets to state that it has value because people perceive it as having such. Otherwise, we turn into Venezuela because we printed way too much money. We borrowed way too much money. So again, value destruction by Donald Trump? Not yet. Maybe companies will be destroyed that otherwise would be in business. That is a destruction of value because you are not producing the same amounts of goods and services that you otherwise would. But until that takes place, until that transpires, let's give the tariffs and Donald Trump a chance. Even though I'm not generally a fan of tariffs, I do believe that we do need something to protect or at least level the playing field for American companies. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section, what I got right, what I got wrong, if I helped explain what value is. And if you did, please give this a thumb up as well. Peace out.